special treat for you guys. We sat down with Batshon for an exclusive interview.
Batshon is CEO and founder of BeatStars, turning producers into entrepreneurs, becoming your own boss. If you're into producing, making your own beats, you could go onto the website and try to sell them, and maybe you'll make a top hit. So basically, it became a little bit more well-known because of some artists like Lil Nas X. He got his beat for Old Town Road on there, Bryson Tiller, Don't, and then some other artists like Young Thug, Designer, Migos. So definitely a really cool platform.
Go take a look. Is the music industry something you always kind of wanted to get into at a young age, or did you not figure that out until later on?
I've been obsessed with music since I was a little kid, since I was like 7, 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
I've been writing songs. So that was always something that I've always gravitated towards. On the same block that I grew up, we had a platinum selling rapper named Spice One in Hayward, California. He would like invite all the neighborhood kids into like his garage to play like Nintendo while he would play us his new album. You know, he was already at the top of his game. And so for us to kind of get a sneak peek into like listening to his new album and just being around him, it introduced us to what the music industry was at a young age with me and all my friends. So that alone gave me, you know, inspiration to be like, oh, it's right here. Like I can get into this. This is something close in proximity. It's something that I can develop a passion for and maybe turn it into a career.
That's really unique to kind of have that
connection.
Connection and exposure at such a young age. Like that's really incredible.
We just wanted to ask, you know, if you had any advice from your personal experience for people like us who are trying to figure out our paths in the music industry and just kind of trying to piece things together. Do you have like any words of wisdom for us?
Don't be stubborn. You're in a stage in your careers. I was there. Like I was an intern for a company called Ingrooves, cutting ringtones early on in my career. This is 2005, 2004. If there's any piece of advice that I would give anyone, just don't be stubborn with the direction and plan that you think you have for yourself, because you may end up developing a passion for something else. Ask to be a part of every aspect of the business. Like you're at a position in your life where you need to like soak in as much game as possible. It doesn't matter like what industry you get in. It's all built the same way. It's all structured the same way. So you can apply what you learn anywhere, you know, and take it to your next journey.
I feel like we definitely need to hear that because we're constantly like, is that too pushy? Are we doing too much? But I mean,
provide value though. Don't just like stick your nose in just to be nosy. Provide value. Be more prepared than your peers.
Kind of getting into a little bit more details about BeatStars. So now a lot of people are kind of figuring out what BeatStars is. So we were wondering if you were able to even predict who would really kind of blow up.
Predicting who's going to blow up is pretty tough. But I do have a scenario where we had a song contest, and there was this kid out of thousands of entries. His name is Ali Gotti. We picked him as the winner. What he was doing was just like so different in a way where he was just being so vulnerable in his music. He was singing love songs, absolute like love songs to girls, and I was like, yo, we need more love songs, you know, because it's been a while. Like it's always been like disrespecting women. It's always been degrading women in a lot of hip hop music, and I'm not down for that. When I heard him, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like he's singing like a love song to a girl. Now he has a single. It's called "It's You." It's blowing up on Spotify's charts. It's like he's signed. He got a major record deal to Warner Music. I'm sure you guys probably have his content on your app right now.
We're Warner.
I knew he was going to make it big. Yeah, we get the opportunity to see a lot of young artists, you know, before they blow up. Like, we got to see Lil Pump before he blew up. He was using BeatStars and our SoundCloud monetization service. You know, A Boogie with a Hoodie, like another artist that was using BeatStars. And it's so cool to be kind of like an integral part of the development of their careers.
I know you said it's kind of hard to figure out who's going to blow up, and I can totally understand that because there's so many different sounds for what you want, and it really depends on your taste. But is there anybody who you've heard of lately on your website that you feel is like, yeah, I heard this and you're about to hear them?
There's a kid we discovered and we started working with him strategically. We shot a music video and we're still working with him behind the scenes on building an album and building songs. We really, really believe in him. There's a couple artists actually that we've kind of worked with in some capacity. One of them is Evans Desir, and he has a single called Trip to the Clouds, produced by Kato on the track. And we shot a music video for that track, and it's super dope. It's on our YouTube channel. Another artist who's just about to drop an album, he's an artist named J Tech. Super introspectful, just smart, conscious music. And Evans is kind of like the perfect harmony between like a Travis Scott and a Kid Cudi. He's got harmonies, he's got melodies. He's a songwriter. He's just amazing songwriter. So those are the two guys right now we're keeping our eye on. But I'm sure my marketing team has a list of songs.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. There's no way you can. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah. How's the industry looking for women, especially women producers, since I feel like that's kind of not as really spoken about as women producers, and if there's any big female producers that you've come across on BeatStars that you think wow, she's incredible.
There's so many dope female producers. And I'm going to tell you guys a really cool story that I don't think I've really told anybody. When we first started the company, we were called Beat Kings. And then when we launched the company, this is 2008, a female producer had messaged me, I don't know, I think it was on social media or something. And I've always had this in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, are we kind of alienating women by naming the company Beat Kings, right? And she hit me up, I forget her name, but shout out to her because she changed the course of our branding and direction and how we embrace, everybody. She emailed me. She's like, Abe, I love BeatStars. I love the tools you guys are doing. But I don't feel 100% welcome because of the umbrella, the banner, right? It's called Beat Kings, and it's very male-centric. And so we ended up rebranding the whole company to BeatStars because we didn't want to alienate female producers, engineers, DJs. Yeah, we bought BeatStars. It was like an expensive domain at the time. I'm like, it's worth it, though, because we need to let, all of our girls know, you guys are welcome. Come on board. We need you part of this community. It's just nice to have a mix of, women and men, girls and boys, just making music together, collaborating together. We have a songwriter, producer on the platform. Her name is Brianna Moran. She's written for Fifth Harmony, Keisha Cole, and she's one of our top sellers on the platform. She's one of the top producers on the platform, just has taken over BeatStars. We love working with our girls. We just did a collab session with her and another producer from Panama here at the studio, and they created 10, 11 tracks, and we're going to run a contest around both of them and brand it around both of them. We're consciously trying to, showcase and find and discover more female producers and put some light on them,
Great. Yeah. We love that. We love inclusivity. So thanks for changing the name. But with that being said, so we know you have a daughter. We were wondering if your daughter was trying to get into the music industry and trying to, figure her way out, what would you tell her? I mean, with all your experience, what would you tell her to do? What would be the steps that you're you have to do this in order to find your way, in order to succeed?
She's already in the music industry. She literally absorbed all my creative DNA. And she's singing, dancing, writing. She's doing everything. And I told her, she's like, Dad, when you go to LA next time, take me. I want to go there and I want to show people I can sing. I'm like, girl, you need to chill out. Hold on. And I tell her, listen, if you want to be, you want to get into this thing and you want to take this thing serious, you got to work at it from now, every single day. And she takes care of her schoolwork. She focuses on that. And she goes to musical theater and she goes to dance and she's incorporating all the things of the arts. I encourage her to just go for it. Why not?
So overall support. I mean, that's definitely.
So kind of just reflecting on your whole experience and journey through BeatStars and just what you've learned in the past, what do you think is your most memorable part about creating and branding BeatStars?
I think the most memorable part had to be this year, paying out over $50 million to young creators and older creators and just producers in general, right? Creating a new economy, a new income stream, make sure that they have an outlet to sustain themselves and make a living doing this. So this whole journey of BeatStars has always been about how many people around the world can we help make successful and provide them with the tools to sustain themselves. Those little things, just being able to make a couple sales every single day, just puts more fuel into the creators to want to just tomorrow I'm going to go harder. And then also the, kind of cherry on top is this Old Town Road, right? This Old Town Road song that the biggest song in history ever made, ever streamed, was made on my platform. I'm thankful for all of that.
I was watching one of your previous interviews and I there was this one phrase that you used that just kind of stuck with me, and it was that the point was to turn producers into entrepreneurs, so that they could sustain themselves and everything that you just explained. But that makes total sense. Why not master your own craft and, you know, kind of be your own boss, you know? So that's absolutely amazing to me.
You kind of have to, like, you know, as a musician, if you don't embrace that your music is a product, then you're never going to make it. If you're not marketing and you're not understanding your business and you're not investing in it and you're not putting forth business plans towards how you are going to succeed, you know, after you've created the product, it's just impossible. So that's the one thing we always want to instill in the community is like, yo, you guys are businessmen and women. You have to understand business. It's 80% business.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe like your hardest moments in trying to, you know, create this business and actually make it successful? Because a lot of people, they don't see that behind the scene work and sweat and, you know, so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it. I'll get PTSD just thinking about that. But yeah, I probably quit 1,000 times. Probably quit at this 1,000 times. I know I was never going to quit. But 2008, it was a whole different world. So 2008, the way we consume music was not the way we're consuming it now. YouTube was not adopted by the masses. I think SoundCloud launched the same year we did as well, too. We're just like way too early, I guess. So it was all about accessibility. And I didn't really realize that when I was building it. Beginning days, it was hard to convince people like, yo, use our service. In the beginning stages, it was like beating a dead horse. It was just like, yo, please use BeatStars. This is what you're supposed to do. Sign up, sign up, sign up. Well, I would say maybe like the last 4 or 5 years, technology and the way that social media and the way that we're all consuming media now has played a big part in our success. And if you're not willing to at least stick it out for 5 years when you're building a company. If you're not willing to stick it out 5 years, then you're probably not built to be an entrepreneur.
Just to kind of wrap up, obviously, this is kind of the direction of the future for where the music industry is going. Can you sort of explain the pros of why it's going in this direction and kind of like piece it together?
Whoever's listening, if you don't know what BeatStars is, it's a music licensing platform at the core of it. But there's built-in social elements and community elements, of course, that is part of the whole process. So if you're a recording artist and you're looking for a backing track, basically a beat that's in full composition mode where it's only missing the lyrics and it's only missing your vocals, that's what you go to BeatStars to do. 10, 15 years ago, you had to go through like a traditional publisher, traditional label, traditional distributor. And that's how you got your music out. And you had to license music in the studio from a producer you may not even like. And so today, the point of entry is just so wide open. That's how I think it's going to continue going with all of these like free tools that are at our fingertips, whether it's YouTube, SoundCloud, TREBEL, all the stores, all the DSPs. Today, you can get your music out there within 24 hours. You can literally buy a beat for $20, $30, record it at your home studio, put it out on SoundCloud or YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, and you might go viral or you might create a fan base. And if you're consistent enough with your releases, you might actually turn that thing into a business. So there's no more barriers anymore.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. I think we've learned a lot.
Yeah, we were super excited just because the message that you were trying to put out and what you did put out by starting this company was something that we just found so inspirational, especially knowing that you didn't necessarily start at an advantage. You made your way up, and that's like where we're at. Yeah. We really looked forward to speaking with you and kind of hearing your story and to kind of help us out too.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all. I don't take any opportunity to speak for granted. So anyone that's willing to listen to me and listen to what we're trying to do is it's all a blessing for me. So I appreciate you guys for even being interested and wanting to learn. So thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. It was such a pleasure getting to talk to AAP. He's such an inspiration for the future of the music industry. Make sure you go check out BeatStars. It's going to be linked in the description.
Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what your favorite part of the interview was. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram @TREBEL Music.